Welcome to the stories on Echoes of Revenge. Step into a world where love turns dangerous, revenge feels inevitable, and every story drags you deeper into the shadows of desire, betrayal, and the human heart. Let's begin today's story. The escrow officer's email arrived at 9:47 a.m. on a Wednesday. Subject: Urgent 2847 Riverside Lane sale missing documentation. Ms. Hartley, we've received a purchase agreement for the above property listing you as co-seller. Please provide 1. Photo ID, 2. Proof of ownership interest, 3. Signature on attached documents. Closing scheduled for June 15th. Time sensitive. I stared at my screen. 2847 Riverside Lane. My mother's house. The house she'd left to me when she died 18 months ago. The house I'd been slowly cleaning out room by room, unable to bring myself to sell it yet. The house my brother Daniel apparently just sold without telling me. I called the number in the email signature. This is Jessica Hartley. I just received your email about Riverside Lane. Oh good. The escrow officer, Sandra Chin, according to her signature, sounded relieved. Your brother said you were traveling and hard to reach. The buyers are eager to close. It's a development company, they're paying cash $1.2 million. Can you come in today to sign? Sandra, I need you to stop this transaction immediately. Pause. I'm sorry. My brother doesn't have authority to sell that property. I'm the sole heir. He has no ownership interest. The pause stretched longer. Ms. Hartley, your brother signed the purchase agreement as co-heir. He provided a copy of the will stating you and he inherited jointly. He's already received his half of the earnest money, $60,000. My office suddenly felt too small. What will? I'm looking at it now. Last will and testament of Margaret and Hartley. Dated March 2022. States that all property is to be divided equally between children Daniel Hartley and Jessica Hartley. That's not my mother's will, I said quietly. I have her actual will. Notarized, filed with probate court. She left everything to me. Sandra's voice shifted into professional crisis mode. I need you to come in immediately. Bring your probate documents. All of them. The ghost ledger. I'd been the one who found Mom after her stroke. I'd been the one who made the hospital decisions, planned the funeral, paid for everything because Daniel was between jobs again. I'd been the one sorting through 50 years of accumulated life. Mom's recipes in her handwriting. Dad's old tools still hanging in the garage. Photo albums from before Daniel started stealing from her purse in high school. Daniel had visited once during Mom's final year. Once. 30 minutes on Christmas, late, already drunk, asking if she'd updated her will yet. She'd had the will revised in March 2022, 6 months before she died. She'd called me to her hospital bed, held my hand with her good hand, the left side still worked, and said, "Everything goes to you. Daniel made his choices." I'd cried. She'd squeezed my hand. "You were here," she said. "That's what matters." Daniel hadn't been at the will reading. He'd sent a text, "Whatever, let me know what I get." What he got was nothing. The will was clear. To my daughter Jessica Hartley, I leave my entire estate, including but not limited to the property located at 2847 Riverside Lane. He'd stopped returning my calls after that. I'd thought he was just bitter. I didn't realize he was planning. Sandra's office smelled like new carpet and anxiety. She'd laid out the documents on her conference table like evidence at a crime scene. On the left, Daniel's purchase agreement. His signature bold and confident on the line marked seller/co-heir. On the right, his forged will. A decent fake, typewritten, professional-looking, notarized by someone named Robert Chin, Notary Public, license number 8847392. I set down my documents. The real will. The probate court order. The death certificate. The title deed showing my name only. Sandra examined each page with the intensity of someone realizing their career might depend on this moment. "The notary on his will," she said finally. "Robert Chin. That's my husband's name. Is he a notary?" "He's a software engineer. He's never been a notary. That license number is probably fake." She pulled out her phone, typed rapidly. "Notary license lookup. License 8847392 belongs to Robert Chong, active in Los Angeles County. Different person. Different county. She looked up at me. Your brother forged an entire will. Yes. And I gave him $60,000. Yes. Her hands trembled slightly as she picked up the phone. I need to call our legal department. And the police. This is fraud. Wire fraud. Forgery. Maybe identity theft. Internal reflection. The inheritance of absence. My brother had been two people my entire life. There was young Daniel, funny, charming, the kid who built elaborate Lego cities and let me play with him. The teenager who drove me to school when mom was working early shifts. The big brother who'd punched Tyler Morrison for making me cry in 7th grade. Then there was other Daniel. The one who started appearing junior year of high school. Who stole $200 from mom's emergency envelope. Who borrowed dad's car and returned it with an empty tank and a dent he never mentioned. Who promised to help with dad's funeral and disappeared for 3 days instead. Other Daniel had eventually consumed young Daniel entirely. By the time mom got sick, there was only the Daniel who showed up asking for money. The Daniel who promised to visit and didn't. The Daniel who'd look mom in her stroke-damaged face and ask when she was updating her will. Mom had loved him anyway. Grieved him while he was still alive. But in the end she'd made a choice. Everything to Jessica. Not because I was better. Because I was there. Daniel had spent 30 years teaching mom that his presence was conditional, transactional, unreliable. So when it mattered she'd left everything to the daughter who'd shown up. He'd inherited her absence because he'd authored it. But apparently absence wasn't enough. He wanted the house too. Procedural justice. The unraveling. The investigation moved with the methodical thoroughness of bureaucracy detecting an insult to its procedures. Week 1. Escrow Company investigation. Sandra's company launched an internal review. How had the forged will passed their verification? Answer: it hadn't. Daniel had provided the document during initial discussions. The actual title search hadn't been completed yet. That happened at week 3 of Escrow. Sandra had accepted his story because he'd been convincing. His sister is traveling in Europe, hard to reach. She knows about the sale. We're splitting everything 50/50ths. The company's E&O insurance would cover the $60,000. But Sandra personally flagged every document Daniel had provided. 3 other forgeries emerged. A quitclaim deed with my forged signature, a property authorization letter, a fake power of attorney. Week 2. Probate court verification. The court confirmed my probate filing from 16 months ago. Only one will had been filed. Mom's real will, leaving everything to me. No contest. No other heirs. Pling. The clerk noted, we get fake wills sometimes. Usually more subtle than this. This one misspells your mother's middle name. It's Ann, not Anne. Daniel had forged an entire will and misspelled our mother's name. Week 3. Title company discovery. The title search came back. Property owner, Jessica Hartley. Deed recorded October 2023. No liens. No co-owners. No Daniel. The title officer's note. Mr. Hartley has no ownership interest, past or present. He is not on the deed, not listed in probate, has no legal claim to this property. Recommend immediate halt to transaction. Week 4. Developer response. The development company was surprisingly understanding. Their lawyer. We see fraud attempts regularly. This one was more elaborate than most. We appreciate the escrow company catching it. We'd like to restart discussions with the actual owner, if she's interested in selling. They'd already done environmental surveys, architectural plans, zoning research. They really wanted the property. Maybe, I told their representative. But not at $1.2 million. You've already proven you'll pay that. Let's start at $1.4 million. We settled at $1.35 million. Week 5. Criminal referral. Sandra's company reported to the district attorney. Wire fraud, the $60,000, forgery, the will, attempted grand theft, the property, identity theft using my name, and notary fraud, the fake notary seal. The DA's investigator called me. Your brother deposited the $60,000 into his checking account. Then immediately transferred it out. Can you guess where? Gambling. Cryptocurrency. Something called Moon Rocket token. It's now worth approximately $340. He turned $60,000 into $340 in 3 weeks. Even his theft was incompetent. Daniel's arrest happened at his apartment. The police report noted, subject appeared confused, stated he didn't think it was a big deal, and families work this stuff out. He called me from jail. I let it go to voicemail. The message, Jess, come on. I'm your brother. Mom would have wanted us to share. You know she would have. This is just a misunderstanding. Tell them to drop it. Please. I can't afford bail. Jess, please. I saved the voicemail. Played it for my lawyer. She smiled grimly. That's consciousness of guilt. He knows exactly what he did. The DA offered a plea, 3 years in prison, $60,000 restitution which he'd never be able to pay, 5 years probation after release. Plus, he'd have to sign a permanent quitclaim on any future inheritance claims. Daniel took it. The alternative was trial with a potential 7-year sentence. Consequences: the permanent record. 3 years. Daniel would spend 3 years in prison for trying to steal from me. For forging Mom's will. For turning her final wishes into a real estate scam. But the consequences radiated outward. His girlfriend left him. Apparently she'd thought the $60,000 was from a consulting job. When she learned the truth, she moved out of his apartment and took the dog. His few remaining friends distanced themselves. One mutual acquaintance told me, I always knew Daniel was sketchy, but forging your dead mom's will? That's a different level. The criminal record would follow him forever. Felony fraud. Even after prison, even after probation, every job application, every apartment rental, every background check would show. Convicted of wire fraud and forgery involving inheritance theft. Mom's house sold to the developers. $1.35 million. After capital gains and legal fees, I netted $1.18 million. I used $200,000 to establish the Margaret Hartley Memorial Scholarship at Mom's alma mater. For nursing students. Mom had been a nurse for 38 years. The scholarship plaque includes her full name, Margaret Ann Hartley. Not Anne. Closing. The property developer sent me photos of the groundbreaking. 12 townhomes. Modern, sustainable, designed for young families. They'd kept Mom's old oak tree, 180 years old, right in the center of the property. The landscape architect built the development around it. Community focal point, the project manager said. Great trees tell stories. I visited once during construction. Stood under that oak tree where Mom used to read to me. Where Daniel and I had built a treehouse in 1994. Where Dad had proposed to Mom in 1982, according to family legend. The tree remained. Everything else was changing. Daniel had wanted to sell this property for $600,000. His half of $1.2 million. He'd forged documents, committed multiple felonies, risked prison time, all for money he'd immediately lost to a cryptocurrency called Moon Rocket. I sold it for $1.35 million. Used it to honor Mom's memory. Invested the rest carefully, properly, legally. He'd tried to steal our inheritance. Instead, he'd stolen 3 years of his own freedom. The probate records revealed the truth. Mom had left everything to me. Not as punishment. As recognition. I'd been there. I'd shown up. I'd earned it by being present. Daniel had earned exactly what he'd gotten. Nothing plus consequences. The escrow company's title search didn't just stop a fraud. It documented a final truth. Mom had made her choice. The law had confirmed it. The probate records were clear. One heir. One owner. One daughter who'd stayed. And one brother who'd gambled everything on a lie and lost it all on Moon Rocket tokens. The oak tree still stands. The townhomes are filling with families. Mom's scholarship helps nurses afford their education. And Daniel serves his sentence, learning what Mom tried to teach him 30 years ago. Presence matters. Character matters. Showing up matters. But he'd learned it too late. The inheritance was never really about the house. It was about being there when it mattered. And I was there.